Wow. And I mean, wow. I never would have thought that some of these films would surprise me with just how surprisingly really good they are. I mean, I was surprised with how much I enjoyed A Bug's Life, and I feel the exact same way with Luca, given that it was my first time watching it. Now, going into this film, I thought that it would be kind of a blend between Finding Nemo and the whole gimmick of H2O. And it was kind of that. Except that they kind of had a long lost twin or something. This movie, as the wiki describes it, is a coming of age story. Yeah, Cars 3 did that already with McQueen reaching retiring age and him learning new tricks that can make him smarter than Storm. But this is a unique take on it. In this movie, a boy named Luca ventures to the surface, along with his newfound friend, Alberto. And together, Luca discovers what it's like to be a human on the surface, and they explore the wonders of the town of Signor Vespa. I hope I said that right. But all the while, trying to keep their secret, that they are both sea creatures under the water. Now you see what I mean by the fact that H2O's gimmick of a single touch of water can turn the girls into mermaids is almost similar, if not the same as this film's two main hidden secrets? Well, I will give it some slack as it is the first time an animated film has done this. And yeah, the underwater scenes do feel almost the same as Finding Nemo and Finding Dory, but at least the art style of the ocean is different in this film. The characters in this film are fun to follow. I like Luca quite a bit. At first, we see that his task under the water is kinda boring. Kinda seems like something a shepherd's dog would do, to be honest. But once reaching the surface and upon meeting Alberto, he desires to be free from his underwater life. I really like Alberto. You can tell that he has quite a bit of fun gathering whatever is required from under the water, and his introduction was quite funny, but also a bit intimidating, being honest. But that beautifully gets paid off during the first act of the race towards the end of the film, and he has a passion to acquire the Vespa, to which he claims it'll take them anywhere, anytime. Luca and Alberto's bond is really fun to see unfold for most of this film. I love the sequence where the two are trying out the ramp. That was a fun scene. Julia is another great character. One of the most fun female characters I've seen in Pixar up until this point. She's no loose or anything, but I do like her personality. And her called Visconti made for a pretty intimidating villain, being honest. He's a cocky guy showing off about winning the annual Rosso Cup, and Julia wants to win one of these days, in which she, as well as Luca and Alberto, do at the end of the movie, all thanks to the two's efforts to save her when she gets injured. The story is really well paced in my opinion. Not much to say, but I do want to point out certain scenes within it. The scenes where Daniela and Lorenzo try and find Luca upon learning he ran away gave me a good chuckle every once in a while. You can kind of tell that they are trying, but they are causing a bit of a ruckus. But I love that moment when Daniela thinks to herself that she went a bit too harsh on Luca. And the scene where Luca confronts Alberto after that one scene where he reveals to Julia that he's a sea monster, but to which Luca accidentally calls out, is actually really sweet. It's just shot reverse shot, and the characters are just talking. You can kind of tell that Alberto was offended when Luca called out he was a sea monster by accident. But I do like how Luca wants to put things right during the race. Speaking of which, the race scene is the best scene in the whole film. I love Luca's determination to win and try to avoid his secret. And you can tell he's really trying after all those scenes in the movie where he trains on the bike. And you really feel the urge to root for him when it starts raining. This scene really gave me chills. Not as much as, say, that moment in Cars 3 when Cruz performed one of Doc's tricks to beat Storm, but this is still up there as one of the best climaxes of any modern Pixar film. And damn, that ending where Alberto, Daniela, and Lorenzo lets Luca go to Julia's school is admittedly very sweet. One of the most wholesome endings of any modern Pixar film. Just wanted to mention that scene. And now for the other little details. The animation for one is really pretty to look at. The underwater sequences, like I said, are extremely similar to Finding Nemo and Dory's underwater sequences. But I do appreciate the effort to make the underwater art style as different as possible. The sceneries with Signor Vispa, though, are the highlight of this film. The lighting there is one to none, and I really love that. And the score by Dan Roma is so great. I love how it goes for the Italian culture-esque vibe this movie is trying to go for. Really grand stuff here for what was Roma's solo contribution to Pixar. Now, like I said before, my only kind of gripes with this film is that the concept of water touching either Alberto or Luca is kind of similar to H2O's concept of one single touch turns the main girl characters into mermaids. But that doesn't really irk me that much, because I genuinely do not think it was intentional by either Disney or Pixar's part, because at least it goes for something unique. And that's the pride and soul when it comes to the film itself. It goes for a more unique take on the concept of water turns you into a creature, as well as the coming-of-age story that we've seen before. Luca was another surprisingly good movie in this marathon. I would definitely recommend this to anyone who is interested with the whole Italian culture, as well as coming-of-age movies if you're into that kind of thing. Another surprisingly good entry in Pixar's library. Well, if Luca turned out to be surprised for how genuinely good it was, then God knows what the next film, Turning Red, is going to turn out. Hopefully it'll be something alright, because I do remember its main gimmick. But we'll have to wait and see what it brings to the table for tomorrow's video.